13.
This meeting is being recorded.
Yes, thank you. So we're gonna get started with the agenda. Did everyone receive the agenda for today? And the minutes was attached to the meeting information. Yes,
I got the piece that
all right, so in any event,
I'm
Michelle,
checking. I'm checking, but I think I looked it over, but I have to find it in my phone. I'll just wait because you're just going to go through it. I look through it while we're on.
no, just to make sure that you have the the information as we go. But you're up for a word of encouragement, so you can just go ahead.
Okay. Life holds us in high esteem when our desires are to serve those in our community. As members of Community Board 9, we know that we are in the gap between a community that needs our assistance and the things that we hope to fulfill. With our leadership under Debbie Timothy and our leadership of our chairman, we understand great spirit of the universe that we are in perilous and troubled times. But because of the camaraderie, because of the coming together of minds, like minds, for the benefit and advancement of our humanity, we know that we do not stand alone. And under the great leadership of our two leaders, we understand that our community also is not alone. We're just grateful that you watch over us and guide us in our thoughts and our words and our deeds. We're grateful for all the accomplishments that we have the honor to have received. And we are thankful for those who are yet planning for what will be done to help our community to forge forward and to move higher in the light of our nation and our state. We thank you that we are able to give this time, and we know that it's not always that we can be in the presence, but whether we're here or we are away, virtually or in person, we know that we stand not alone because our hearts are indicted in a great matter. Bless our community. You know the boundaries that where it stands. Bless all those who live here, those who visit, and those who are here so that our community can benefit. Bless us all and guide and direct us all and protect us all as we move forward to make Community Board 9 a better instrument for your work, and the community, the total community, a better place for all those that will come and visit, and all those that will come and live, and all those that will be here to wish us well. So it is, and so it shall be. So it is, and so it shall be. So it is, and so it shall be. Amen.
Thank you for that word of encouragement.
God bless.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, so we're gonna move along here to accept the minutes and the agenda, the minutes from the February meeting and the agenda for tonight. So I will now put a motion on the floor to accept those two items.
Family, sometime it's some other.
Motion moved.
Thank you.
Desire.
I second.
Thank you. Okay. So I noticed that we have some guests on our meeting tonight. And we would like to introduce them. My name is Debbie Timothy, and I am the chair of the Environmental Protection Committee meeting. So Teresa, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Teresa Westerdahl. I'm a member of the Environmental Protection Committee and a board member of CP9 as well. And I'm happy to be here. Look
Thank
forward
you.
to hearing from everyone. Thank you.
And she's also the vice chair
Oh,
of
yes.
the committee. Dr. Silvetta Hamilton Gonzalez, would you introduce yourself? I know you just gave us the word, but we have some guests on here. I'd like to-
My name is Bishop Silvetta Hamilton Gonzalez, and I'm here to honor my place with Ms. Timothy, who is our extraordinary leader. I've worked with her before, and I'm working with her again because her heart really is centered around the goals of our community. And I remember during the pandemic saying to her, Debbie, I don't know how you can do it, that she was walking the streets just to make sure that our community was safe and that our entrepreneurs were getting the information that they need. So I'm just grateful to be here with this woman who stands so tall. And my hope is that the visitors will understand we're here to do business, and we would love if you can do business with us to do it with. And if you can for us, let us collaborate together so we can get it done, because our community, especially for the environmental purpose, do need all of us to take our rightful position. Thank you for coming, and I hope you will come again.
Thank you. And I see we have someone by the name of Theodora Sakurato. I'm sorry if I
Scorado.
pronounced your last.
That's okay. Scorado. Thank you.
Dorado, thank you.
Yes, I came to do a public comment and to talk about an issue. I'm Executive Director of Environmental Health Trust. Is now a good time, or I don't know the agenda because I don't have it in front of me.
Oh, you don't have an agenda. Well, we do have an open discussion once we finish with the introductions. So maybe that's a perfect time for you to, you said make a comment or, okay.
Great.
Excuse
So
me,
we can
Debbie, if you mind.
yes.
For those that don't have the agenda, it's on our website. If you go under committees and then environmental protection, March agenda. So it's right there if you need to follow along.
Okay, thank you, Khalid, for that. And I see we have Leslie Farrar.
Yes, hi. I'm visiting from the Housing Committee, and
Okay.
I'm on Rutland 3. So
Okay.
and yeah, so hi neighbors. And I'm here. I think there's a presentation tonight I wanted to hear and to hear what everybody has to say.
You said there's a presentation?
Wait, I think there's going to be a discussion. It's on the agenda.
So normally we have an open discussion on issues that may be going on in the community, or anything that is, a deterrent to the residents, so that we can bring the information to the board. So, we don't have anyone coming on to do a presentation if that's what you're speaking about.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I saw the
Okay.
agenda. There was something that I wanted to
Okay,
listen
thank
in on
you.
and talk about.
And I see we have Mr. Herbert on here, Rod. So,
Yes, hello, everyone. Hi, this is Rod
Hi.
Herbert.
Hello.
Long time, yes, hi, long time resident in the community. And I'm just joining a number of meetings to,
Mhm.
get involved now that I'm retired and I have all the time in the world to do what I want.
Wow.
So that's me.
Thank you.
Oh, and I did submit my application.
Very
member of
good.
the
You
board.
submitted it on time.
I submitted on time, had my interview, and now it's just a waiting process.
All right, very good. Thank
Okay.
you for sharing.
I followed up and I followed
Thank-
through.
Thank you.
Okay.
Very good. We have Odette Wilkins. Would you introduce yourself to?
Yes, very happily so. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Odette Wilkins, and I'm President and General Counsel of Wired Broadband. We are a nonprofit in Queens, and we are focusing on safe technology for the public. And I'm also a technology attorney for over 20 years. And so I know a lot about the benefits as well as the risks of technology. So I would love to talk to you later about the Link 5G polls.
Okay, were you on the general board meeting on Tuesday?
Yes, I was.
Okay, I think, yeah, I remember seeing you there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And we have Haley Starr.
Hello.
Hi.
I have been on a few meetings previous. Very interested community member, especially around environmental topics. And much like Mr. Herbert, I applied for CB9 a few months ago. So just want to stay as informed as I possibly can as I am in the process.
Okay, you said you live in the community?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay, great, thank you. Okay, and we have Mrs. Sorid. Jay Sorid.
Hello, my name is Jay Sorid, member of
Hi.
member of the Housing Committee. I'm especially interested in some environmental issues as it relates to the very big Vital Brooklyn project happening in East Flatbush, and also as it relates to the Link NYC, the cell phone towers, and its impacts on the community.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So now, next on our agenda is, like I said, we do have an open discussion. Because the reason behind that is we've been having a challenge with having a quorum for our meetings at this time. And I think most of the committees on the board is experiencing the same. So,
Yeah, I
in
just want to comment
terms of,
the absentee people were all removed. The people that never
yeah,
showed.
yes. Well,
removed.
I believe from my understanding is that two of the community board members are resigned. That's what
And yeah, and the non-attendees are
and
gone.
then,
We can easily make quorum now. It's such a time to celebrate.
yeah, well, we first have to get, those people replaced before we can do that.
And we've got a couple people here that may join us, so there's great
Yes.
hope.
So hopefully, yeah, we will be able to, move forward on, doing things as opposed to just talking about it and sending the information to the board office so that they can have the issue addressed. And, sometimes it takes a while before we can get information. So, hopefully that will be, taken care of in a timely manner. We'll be able to, do better work on behalf of our community and the residents that we, have in the community. So we are going to try to keep some order here as I I'm not gonna pronounce your last name, but Theodora mentioned that she had a comment to make. And so I'm gonna allow her to do so. Hopefully, it's not a very long comment. And so that we can, move along with our meeting. And so I will allow you to, do so now.
Great, thank you. Well, I realize now that the 5G polls is on the agenda for new business, so I'm glad to talk then as well. We are an organization focused on wireless and health and environmental health. And we actually ended up suing the FCC on this issue because their limits are outdated and do not address long-term exposure in wildlife. But I'm glad to wait until that time. Or should I speak now? What would be the best way?
Are you?
Well, I mean,
with the Odette? Are you and Odette part of the same group?
We're different groups, but we're talking about the same issues, but we're totally separate organizations.
What are the names of the organizations?
Well, Theodora's is Environmental Health Trust.
Environmental Health Trust.
And they were one of the plaintiffs that sued the FCC. We are Wired Broadband.
Wired Broadband.
And we're in Queens.
Okay, so Odette, so you were on the meeting on Tuesday?
Right, but I do have some additional information
And
too.
Theodora, were you on that meeting as well? On our general board meeting?
I have to look at
Tuesday.
my notes because I've been on so many meetings this last month.
Okay, because I mean, if this is something that you brought to the board already, we don't want to take up our whole meeting talking about this. If it's something that is broad, then maybe you need to do a presentation at the general board meeting.
Fred asked us to deal with this at the board meeting. Remember, he said put it to EP. He said that in the board meeting. He did say that.
Okay, but again,
let's talk
they
about.
bring in the information to us. We do not have a quorum to move this any further. So the presentation.
We do have a quorum, Debbie. I respectfully disagree. We do have a quorum.
Is how many members we have here?
We have Bishop.
Is
Elf, and we have.
Christine is not here.
She's not here, so we have a quorum. That's 75%.
And Khalid, we are supposed to have how many people?
It's half of that, but let me just check in with Fred real quick.
Yeah, because
we have a no. That's what I was celebrating.
So it's 1, 2, 3. Gonzalez, 4. And okay, so he's checking as to how many people we are. Thus far, we have, I believe, like 3 other people that was supposed to be a part of this board, this committee.
They were removed. I'm looking at the agenda for today.
Yeah, I understand 2 of them, but Mr. Breitbart, I believe, I didn't hear anything about him.
Mr. Breitbart, he's not on the list anymore.
He's not?
No.
I didn't get an updated list, but the information I got was that
the one
verbally
that,
was that.
The one that Khalid sent today is the one I printed out, and I have in front of me right here.
Okay, because verbally I was told that yesterday.
Well,
so.
According to
okay,
this.
you do have quorum.
Thank
Okay.
you, Khalid.
Okay, thanks for checking on that.
Khalid.
So yeah, but in any event, I would like to keep your whatever, comments you have to make very short so that we can move on with our meeting agenda. So again, I'm gonna have Theodora, provide her comment to the committee.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have been working on issues such as preventable causes of breast cancer,
Mhm.
you know, plastics, asbestos, lead, for years, Environmental Health Trust, and you can go to ehtrust.org to learn more about us. We sued the FCC because their limits are from 1996 and have not been changed since. The court found, the U.S. Court of Appeals, the DC Circuit, the second highest court in the land, found that the FCC had acted arbitrary and capricious in deciding to keep those stale, outdated limits from 1996, when they didn't even have research on impacts to children, long-term exposure, or impacts to wildlife and environment. And by the way, the limits that we have aren't even intended to protect wildlife, insects, trees, and so forth. And there is ample evidence of impacts to trees, to insects, to the environment. There's also a complete lack of regulatory monitoring on this issue. There's no environmental monitoring of what are the levels in the air. Like, you know, we measure air pollution, we measure water pollution. We don't measure radio frequency radiation or electromagnetic fields, even though we used to. And we did, we had a robust research and monitoring program in the 70s and 80s, but that was all defunded in 1996 completely. There was a fully defunded and fully defunded. We don't have, we trust the telecom carriers instead of having oversight as to if they are compliant for these limits. So in other countries, the government actually, both states and federal, will be checking that the levels of radiation emitted by the cell antennas and so forth are within the limits. But in the United States, we completely trust the carriers to do their independent reviews. And we have now been having a lot of meetings with folks who used to be doing those measurements and who are stating, and this is something we're going to be talking about more, that there actually is a lot of issues around this lack of oversight and compliance. One of the lawyers who used to be at the FCC, who are now working with Erica Rosenberg, has written an article, and if I will send you an email with this information on the lack of adequate environmental, addressing NEPA by the FCC. That she calls it a captured agency, that they're not looking at the environmental issues adequately. And as well, a Harvard report by Norm Alster a couple of years ago called the FCC a captured agency. So when you go to the city and say, you know, we have these concerns, they're going to say, well, the federal government says it's fine. We're following what the FCC says. That's the agency that is it has the regulatory authority to ensure compliance for the laws that we have. However, they're not a health and safety agency. They have no environmental expertise, no biological expertise. So I am available. I'm glad to do a presentation later to have more time on this. I know Odette knows a lot too, and will be sharing as well. But thank you for listening. I think I've done more than 2 minutes. So
Okay, so is there a recommendation that you would like to, you know, to make to the board? I mean, I don't get, you know, you said you had a comment to make. Are you just?
Well, the recommendation that I would have is to call for a halt to all of these installations until questions have been answered related to the radio frequency radiation levels. So I have written to the city, and I have not gotten any answers to my questions. What are the radio frequency levels that we have now? What will it be when you add in these poles? How is compliance going to be monitored? How are you ensuring safety for the public? I mean, 10 feet is the limit. There are many countries where you can't even have a cell tower on a school ground, or they even have exposure limits that are 10 to 100 times more strict than the US related to cell tower radiation. So I have all of these questions that haven't been answered. And I know that there are 7 community boards that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And your letter was directed to whom?
To OTI, to the Office of Technology. I can send it to you as well. I have been waiting answers.
Did you send that information to the board?
I may have way back. When I sent an email several weeks ago, I have not more recently. I can do it again. The letter that I sent to OTI.
So you did not receive any feedback from the letter that you thought you sent to the board, or?
Don wrote to me today or yesterday.
Teresa, can I just finish before you intervene? And how long ago was that? You wrote that letter, you said?
I can get the exact time. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I sent an email to the community boards with the letter and also a briefing about this issue. So you just had information.
And you said you sent a letter to the city.
Oh, the letter to the city I sent many weeks ago.
Did you receive a response?
No. I have not received a response. I also sent it, I have sent it now 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I sent it, well, give me a second and I will find out. The first time.
Did you
what-
send it to the same individual or?
I actually sent it to a couple individuals in hopes that maybe someone would answer it.
A couple of individuals for the city or a couple of individuals for CB9, because Dante, our manager, wrote to me and said he'd sent everything to the chair of EP, Debbie Timothy. So Debbie, you didn't get anything from any of these people? From Dante?
I think
Is
I'm
that
talking about 2
information?
different things.
That's 2 different things, Teresa. Let Theodora finish her.
I will
remarks.
resend to the community board in case it didn't, I know in case that didn't happen, but the letter I'm talking about is to Stacy Gardner, Senior Director, External Affairs at New York City Office of Technology and Innovation. I sent January 31st, February 8th, and February 16th. And
Excuse me, Debbie.
sent it one more.
Uh-huh.
The information that I have forward was the information that was sent to us from these organizations.
Okay, so that was the information you sent today?
No, I was about 2 days ago, earlier in the
Okay.
week, when I have
Is
forwarded
that
to,
the-
yeah.
Is that the one that's stating the environmental health trust?
Yes, that one also I sent, it was
2022?
a follow-up was sent today, but also another one was sent earlier in the week of the information they sent.
Yeah,
Can you-
I printed that, but I didn't get a chance to look
I'd like-
through the
And review it, please. Can I be sent that, Debbie?
okay, Khalid, I believe that I I asked earlier today
Hmm.
if that had been sent to the individual. Was it Teresa that requested that?
Yes, but it was
Was
sent.
the information sent to her?
No, I don't. The information was sent to you. I thought to be disseminated to your committee members, but I could send that email.
Yeah,
Okay,
what-
well, the normal procedures that I ask for is
Hmm.
that whatever is being sent to me be sent to the other people on the committee as well at the
Thank-
same time.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Debbie.
I think, as opposed to being sent to me and then, so I think, everyone on the committee should at least, get access to it at the same time.
Thank you.
In the event I should miss something, then somebody else can, pick it up and, bring it up. So, that would be helpful if that can be done at some point.
That'd be wonderful. You heard
Oh.
that? Be sure to tell Dante.
I can send it to you myself. So Debbie, thank you for the clarification. And the
Yeah, thank
information that
you.
will be sent to you will be disseminated to everybody else in the committee. Thank you.
Yeah,
Uh,
as long as it pertains to the Environmental Protection Committee. I
Got it.
think that that's how it should be done. Okay, so Theodora, I want to thank you for your, the information that you're sharing with us. And I believe that it's a great concern for many people in the community, and hopefully, we can, get more information on what's going on. I know that you said you wrote several times to the city, and I'm surprised that, not even once you received a response in terms of this, but hopefully, maybe the board, can follow through on some of these things as, as they come up. before it's too late. So that's my, does anyone else have any comments from the committee on that issue? Or any questions for Ms. Theodora?
I have a question for any of the panelists, or any of the, not panelists, any of the people that are here. I understand, and my neighborhood, we have two of these towers very close to where we live. And my neighbors have been concerned for quite some time, and we've been working on it and have failed to actually get any traction. I would like to know how the Upper East Side was able to get those towers removed. Some people in Manhattan community boards were able to get those towers removed. And I would like to know how that happened, and I would like to know what we can do, because I know quite a few people who are interested in joining that fight, but it seems like those towers went in, I think, in the spring, and nobody said anything to us. There was no, I asked at the community board meetings, and it's been crickets from everyone. So any information that you can give us on how we can respond to this and get them removed, find out what the repercussions are for having them. I have two young people in particular in my neighborhood with little children who did quite a bit of research and, sent me some information. So.
Yes, I can answer that question for you, Teresa. I'm going to give you a document, submission of the information from Community Board 8 on the Upper East Side and the moratoriums that the full board accepted. There was a landmarks commission, landmarks committee that did a moratorium and disapproval, and then there was a transportation committee that disapproved and also put out a moratorium. Both moratoria were presented to the full board, and the full board approved them. So there is a complete moratorium on the Upper East Side. There were none installed yet. Now, in terms of the ones that are installed now in your neighborhood, it would be good if you could let me know where those are, because right now the data set that's on the internet that OTI has published of proposed installations apparently is not complete, because it seems as if the ones that have already been installed have been taken down from the list. So if you could let me know, because right now you have 6 on your list, and it looks like you're slated to have 6. Now your comment period passed. There was a comment period that was posted on the internet. So I don't know whether you ever received written notice from OTI regarding this. In the submission that I'm going to give to you after this meeting, you will see a copy of the written notice that OTI gave to CB8. That is exactly the kind of notice that you should have received. Now, OTI in their other community board meetings has already admitted that they did not seek community input prior to this series of presentations that they are doing. When they went to the Public Design Commission, I believe it was it last year or the year before, the Public Design Commission gave them a conditional approval to do a pilot program of installations where they were required to get community input and feedback on what people felt about these towers. So they did not do that. There was no process with respect to any of those that have been installed. Now, my recommendation, our recommendation to you is to do exactly what CB8 did, disapprove moratorium, and with respect to those that have already been installed, Bushwick had the same issue. They suggested to do a moratorium on any provisioning of services with respect to those towers that have already been installed. They did not get your community input. Now, the justification that they're using is that the telecom carriers have identified a need for greater capacity for an anticipated gap in service, for a future gap. Well, there is no current gap. We have the right to reject that because there was a federal court decision in New York last year that specifically stated that unless a carrier can show a significant gap in phone service, they have no right to come into our neighborhoods. Now, that means that they have to provide evidence. The burden of proof is on the carrier to provide evidence that there's a significant gap in service. So in that particular case last year, the judge said that this had to do with Extenet, and that carrier did not provide any evidence of a gap in service. And therefore, the town was completely in its right to deny all the cell towers that they were going to be putting in, and there were going to be 18 4G cell towers. So my recommendation and our recommendation from Wired Broadband is to do exactly what Manhattan CB8 did. And by the way, there are about 8 right now, 7 or 8 community boards that have already disapproved and have declared moratoria. There are more on the way, by the way. We are speaking to a number of them right now, and there are more on the way. Does that answer your question, Teresa?
Yeah, that's good. I think we just need to get a letter together and put it before, I guess, our own board. Wouldn't you say, Debbie?
Yes, I agree. But Odette, did you submit any of that information to
Yes,
CB9?
Yes, I will submit that information. I just completed it this afternoon in order to be able to send it to all of you. So I will provide that to you. The other thing that they're using as a justification, by the way, is to provide services for equity districts to bridge the digital divide. Now, this is a very convenient marketing term because actually what happened is that the US Government Accountability Office stated that in a report that 5G is probably going to exacerbate the digital divide. It's unlikely to remedy the digital divide. And then the National Digital Inclusion Alliance, in testimony to Congress, stated that people in equity districts will probably not even be able to afford a 5G phone. So basically, it seems like the telecom carriers are saying that they want to put in added capacity for future needs, but that's added capacity for needs that they want to create. It's a capacity they want to create, not because we want it, it's because they want to provide us services so that they can make more money and so that they can do that. So we're not fooled by that. And not only that, but these towers, there is a safety hazard with respect to these towers. First of all, cell towers do catch on fire. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's catastrophic. And California had a very catastrophic fire that burned for about a month from telecommunications equipment. Now, the other thing is that, and there's also in Brooklyn, rooftop towers had caught on fire because of an electrical malfunction in Brooklyn in 2021. Now, there's also an insufficient fall zone. If these towers can be placed as close as 10.6 feet to a structure, that means it's that close to a home, to a school, to any structure that if a tower collapses, if there's a structural failure in the tower and it collapses, it can collapse into somebody's home, injure people in their home, collapse into a school, injure children in the school, collapse onto the sidewalk and injure pedestrians. And so usually there needs to be at least a fall zone that is where the circumference around the tower is at least the length of the height of the tower. So if the tower is 32 feet high, then the fall zone needs to be at least 32 feet high. There needs to be a clearance. Otherwise, everyone's going to be in the line of sight of any kind of tower collapse. So I just wanted to keep that, have that for you. And the other thing is that I just want to let you know that you can contact me at Wired Broadband.
Okay, can you submit your information to the board with all your contact information? Sure. So that, any questions that we have, we can refer to you as a guide through this process.
Absolutely, I'd be more than happy to. Thank you.
What, wiredbroadband.com or .org or?
It's .org. That's our website. And I'm at O. Wilkins at wiredbroadband.org. And Wilkins is WILKENS.
Okay,
That's owilkins@wiredbroadband.org.
Thank you, Odette.
Thank you so much.
Please, please send that information to, whenever you can, so that it could be shared with the committee.
yes.
Fantastic. I'm going to do that immediately after this meeting. Thank you.
Thank good.
Okay, thank you for the information.
And we're very lucky to have Theodora
Uh,
with us. We're very lucky to have Theodora with us. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Dora. Thank you, Odette. I really appreciate you
Uh,
being here. We've been struggling with this for months in my neighborhood. They're very close to where I live. There's one right next to people's apartments, very close on Montgomery and Bedford, and there's another one on Bedford and Empire. That's it's next to a storage facility. It's not next to right next to where people live, but the other one is very right next to where people live.
Okay.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions for Odette pertaining to this information that she just provided? No, I take that as a no. Okay, so we can move on with our open discussion on some of the other items that we have going on in the community. So we look forward to getting information from Odette and Theodora as we move on with this information. So Khalid, once you guys receive that information, you can, I suggest that, you know, all that information should be shared with the entire board so that, you know, in the event, you know, things start moving quickly, people will have that information and be able to, you know, be in one accord as opposed to one person saying, I didn't get it, I don't know about it, or anything like that. And if they have questions, then they can, you know, bring those questions forward and get, you know, feedback on them and how to, you know, move through the process in terms of, as Odette said, the moratoriums that the other community boards in Manhattan did. Because it's very important that people understand what's going on and not, you know, be afraid of all the jargon words that's being put out there that they don't understand, you know, so that if, you know, they know and understand what's going on, they'll be able to ask questions and, you know, get the answers for that information from, you know, someone that have more information than we do as a board. Okay, thank you. So Haley, are you still with us? You guys have any questions pertaining to that or anything that you want to share with anyone on this meeting tonight?
Not from me. But I agree. I do live very close to two of the towers. They have stood out to me, but I don't have any comment at this time.
Okay. Thank you for joining us again. Yes.
Towers,
So
Haley,
I'm sorry.
I would like to know where the towers are that Haley sees, if there's more than the two that I know about.
I live most close to the tower on Bedford and Montgomery.
Okay, thank you.
So that's one of the ones that you're talking about, Teresa.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I really
Okay.
know more there are. I just know about those two. So
You actually have 6 that are listed on the OTI data set on the internet.
Okay. Okay.
that's
So
towers in CB9.
is that within CB9?
Correct.
Okay. So if we can, yeah.
Yeah, how do we find?
Do you guys?
I will get that info. I have that information. That's what I'm going to be sending to you right now.
Okay, great. So Khalid, yeah, get that information and disseminate it.
Mr.
So
Herbert
in-
has his hand up, just.
Oh, Mr. Herbert, go ahead.
Yes, hi. I have just a quick question with regards to the full risk of the cell towers that are being placed around that was mentioned. So I guess my question is, what is the difference in the fall risk of a cell tower versus a utility pole? And if you can't answer that question now, I don't have it, I understand, but it's just a thought that came to my head. Is there a difference in the fall risk?
Well, with utility poles, you don't have the tightly stacked antenna equipment. There are 5 bays to the towers. They're huge, and they have 5 different floors, if you will, where they can pack the technical equipment, and that gets very, very heavy. That's not like your regular utility pole that might have a wire or a few wires or whatever. This is going to be very heavy, and it's basically an electrical installation.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Is that it, Mr. Herbert, to you?
Yes, that's
Okay.
fine.
Thank you. Are there any other questions on this topic? No, okay. Thank
Jay
you.
Sword has his hand up.
Oh,
so-
Jay, okay, go ahead. Thank you. Go ahead, Jay, you're
Great. So just 2 questions on the moratorium. I was curious as to the effectiveness of it. Is it just, I don't know if anybody knows this, besides it being a moratorium by a community board, which is just advisory, in nature, was there maybe something more to it that like gave it effect? Like, was there like a city council? I doubt there would be, but was there like a city council law that followed the community board moratorium to say, okay, we're not going to have any more installations?
Well, yeah, I mean, in Community Board 8, they were quite exercised about the fact that they were going to go on the Upper East Side, and they did not want it. And so they got both city council members, Julie Menon and Keith Powers, got involved, and they wrote letters to the officials in the city saying, we don't want this. Rebecca Seawright, who's the assembly representative, wrote a letter saying, I want to set up a commission in New York State to study the effects of wireless radiation. Then there was the Manhattan Borough president who sent out a letter to the city saying, we got to slow this down because we need to have more community input. So everybody got involved. And what we need is to get the borough presidents of each of the boroughs involved in this, including the Brooklyn borough president, as well as the assembly members for your district and the council members for your district. So we need to get them, you need to get them informed about this and call them up and share the information and have and invite them to come to a meeting where we can have a more full discussion about this.
Yeah, that's a good point. That just, having, I think at the board meeting, I think it was Pat Moses that mentioned we should be bringing out the officials, the different city council people should be at the meetings to respond to the different issues, because many times what they say has great influence. And I could definitely see if there's more than just like, a moratorium where I guess the department that's in charge of this, was it Department of Technology and
do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually Office of Technology and Innovation now. They changed
Right.
their name to
Right.
OTI.
Okay,
Right. And then the other issue on that would be, okay, if there's, just what the status is of the contract, because if Link NYC has some sort of contract where they say, okay, we can install this many and everything like that, can the city just say, okay, we're stopping it because of this? There may be something else that may need to happen where the city council people may need to say, okay, we want more testing, or something like that, because there may be a certain right on that. The other point that I want to make, besides bringing in other people from the city council and other people to maybe come in with, some sort of city resolution or a law, in addition to the community boards, is maybe quantifying the radiation. Like I think New York City Department of Environmental Protection, I think that's the department. Maybe if there's some way that Environmental Protection Department for the city can come out and measure and to say, okay, look, let's test something that has 5 of these towers working at the same time. because you have Link NYC, but Link NYC is saying, what we want is not just Link NYC. We want to have like 4 or 5 other cell phone towers on the same one. And there may be a question as to what the radiation effects are going to be cumulatively. And to have some sort of, whatever that quantitative measurement is, to start measuring in different places and to say, what is it? And they may not have that yet. So maybe to say,
Okay, so
And
go ahead,
can I
Theodora.
respond to that? Because that's really, really important what you're raising. And actually, so I am in the Washington DC area in Montgomery County. And when this happened here, we work nationally. We ended up, the county actually did exactly that. They didn't quite do it perfectly, but it was a good try. And what they did is they looked at a worst case. They looked at like, if there's 1 antenna, if there's 3 antennas, if there's this many antennas, what are we talking about here? How far will the radiation go out? And they found that for the worst case scenario, and these were not your jumbo 5 carrier poles, which New York City is getting. These are small, they're just a single pole that maybe had 3 antennas, okay? And I need to quantify that. I could even get you the report that they did. But they found that the house should not be any closer than 11 feet with their worst case scenario, which was a very modest pole compared to what these jumbo poles are. The other thing is that what might ultimately happen, and I think what you're raising is so important, and the state has to step in, or the locality has to step in, because we have a federal dropping of the ball at the federal level. But at some point in these conversations, and I do believe that engaging the federal delegation as well as your state delegation is important in this, because we sort of need all hands on deck. Is they're going to say, well, this is a federal issue. Like everyone gets to run around. There's nothing I can do. It's a federal issue. It's actually, there's a lot that can be done at the federal level. It does not require making new laws. It requires the agencies doing their jobs, meaning the EPA. Now, the EPA was defunded in 1995, and they really don't have any experts there who even know anything about this now, but they need to get that, and they can actually be working on this. So I just wanted to say that, because that's sort of another layer. You have your local work, but you're going to run into the federal deficit and all of those regulatory gaps. And we need to, at the same time, be saying, hey, we've got to fix this at the federal level too.
Okay, so in order for us to get started on this, if Odette, if you guys can send the information to the board, maybe a letter can come from the board with those attachments to our elected officials to get things started. And I think, that's how we're gonna go, move on with this topic for now. I mean, because what you're talking there now are things that's to come that needs to be discussed, but we need to get that started first.
Okay, that would be great. Now, I just checked your website and there is no email address. It's an in-mail, and there's no way for me to do attachments. So can you give me your email right now, Khalid?
It's bk09-1@cb.nyc.gov.
Okay, great. bk09-1@cb.nyc.gov. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're
There's
just
one
gonna,
There's one other concern that I have that I want to ask. Nobody mentioned this. We're talking about the towers and Link NYC. I know Link NYC at one point had to take down all their towers because of the surveillance that they were caught taking part in. They had to remove, and then they replaced them. And these towers that were being installed now are supposed to also have this surveillance mechanism. And there, like my neighbors, there's like this rethink.nyc has information, and the Gothamist also has an article. Yes, Link NYC kiosks are giant data harvesting surveillance cameras, obviously. And then another article, theintercept.com, Link NYC free Wi-Fi kiosks. My neighbor says it's quite depressing that they've come to our neighborhood. This is like one of the gentlemen in my neighborhood with a young child. LaShawn also has been very concerned about these. So I have quite a few articles that they've been sending, Lashana and Todd mostly, so I would like to forward those as well, so everybody, you know. Khalid, if I send these, it's a little bit difficult because we don't have the chat. If I send these to you, will you forward them to the rest, you know, to everybody else? I think it's not just our committee. I think, you know, it's a language issue as well.
Okay,
because-
we don't want to bombard people with a whole bunch of stuff all at once.
Okay,
So, I mean, in order to start, you know, things rolling, as I explained, Odette and Theodora can send the information to the board office, and the board office should start, you know, putting a letter together so that our elected officials are, you know, acclimated with what's going on and, you know, what we would like to see happen in terms of what's going on as a committee, as a community board on behalf of our residents. And then, you know, hopefully we can get to the next step where we, you know, engage, you know, residents about what's happening and hear what their thoughts are on that. I mean, because we can go on all night on this topic, and I don't want to do that at this meeting, because this meeting doesn't, you know.
Yeah, if you don't
take
mind,
care of
Debbie.
this topic. I'm sorry.
I said, if you don't mind, let me just want to chime in. Teresa, any information that you sent, you know, we've been compiling this information that has come
Yeah.
to us, and our job is to share whatever within the community and make sure people are informed on what's going on. So whatever you share with us, no problem. I would, you know, speak with the team, compile the information so it's concise and people are clear on what is going on. And then that'll be sent to them. But yes, please share whatever you want to share with the community, and we'll do our best to disseminate it out to the public.
I just have a quick question. Who are your Congress people?
Yvette Clark is our congressperson, and Crystal Hudson and Cunningham are our city council.
Brian Cunningham.
One
Okay.
more, right? Debbie, isn't there one more person that's bordering in our council district? Khalid?
Are you
Myrie.
speaking about Senator Myrie, Zelno
No.
Myrie?
There's another council. I believe there's another district. that's-
Crystal Hudson, did
Rita.
you say that?
Are you speaking about a council person?
Yeah,
Darlene
Rita
Mealy.
Joseph? No?
Yes, three of them.
Yeah.
three.
Darlene Mealy.
Darlene, yeah, that's the one,
Darlene.
Darlene.
Or Darlene Mealy?
Yeah, 41st, I think.
Zellner's senator.
Right.
Yeah, that would be great because Yvette Clark has been very much involved in this issue.
Oh, great.
Very much involved. So she is very familiar with the whole telecommunications issue. We really need to get to her. And I think she was chair of, Theodora, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't she chair of one of the congressional committees on commerce or telecommunications or something like that? I seem to remember, but she is a very, very important person that you need to get on your side.
Yeah, I
She would-
believe he is chair of telecommunications or some FCC, something like that.
Yeah, I think they oversee the FCC. And so that, man, you got it made.
And I
Yeah,
would like to
yeah.
offer, if you do set up those meetings and would like to invite me to come, I would be glad to be there, and it would be important too. Or I'll give you a prep beforehand on things, because we really need those meetings to take place and for them to get educated. They really don't know much about this issue, actually, about the radio frequency issue, because it just hasn't been anything that, you know, we're not a lobby group, so there's not like lobbyists teaching them about this issue. And that's part of the challenge here. So.
Yeah, and that's very important. And so, you know, we're also available. We also have experts around the country who are absolutely experts on all of this. So if we can arrange meetings with the congressional delegation for your district, that would be absolutely awesome.
Okay, so we will make those decisions as a board and not as a committee. I mean, we can, you know, present that to, once we start, you know, the process of getting everybody on board. I think that will become easier. But for now, we are, I'm gonna, move on with this meeting and try to, move on with our other issues that we have to discuss. And I want to thank you guys again for joining us tonight and providing us with a wealth of information that we probably, would not have gotten otherwise, and hope that we can, connect again at some point in the not too distant future on this topic, because it seems as though, it's the, hottest topic right now. So we would love to be able to act on it before it's too late, and hopefully, everybody, the community will be on board, and we'll be able to get, the outcome that we would like to get from this. The removal and whatever else people may, be looking at, or, just the best for the, the residents in the community, the best outcome on this 5G, because I know it came up in the past a while ago, and people were like, well, you had all these different things coming on WhatsApp and TikTok and all these things. And, people were not really aware of what it entails. So, I mean, the information that you're sharing with us tonight is very good. So, I really appreciate it, and look forward to speaking, on this topic again in the near future. Okay, thank you. And Khalid will be looking out for that information that you will be sharing with us. You provided Odette with the information that she needed?
Yes, the email.
Okay,
Yes. Also, I don't, Mr. Sawyer had his hand up. I don't know if he.
oh, Mr. Soren, yeah. Okay, Mr. Soren, do you have a question?
Yes, I actually had a comment that I wanted to just,
Okay.
if I can indulge you. I think the the earlier comments of Miss Hamilton Gonzalez gave me so much energy that I hope
Yeah.
I'm not too, I hope I'm not too aggressive tonight. But very quickly, I just want to say
That's the whole purpose of getting that from her every meeting, yeah.
I enjoyed it. I'll come back just for that part. But the quick comment that I want to make is it may be helpful if we can get a contact at the New York City Department of Environment, the Environmental Conservation Department, or whatever that is, at the New York City Environmental Protection Agency. I'm getting it wrong, but one contact there, and also another contact at Link NYC. And the reason
where?
Link NYC, which is the company that is running all of these cell phone towers. That's the one who got the.
Okay, so I think that the board should be able to get that information.
And so that's like a contact person who will answer the questions, because I want to get the information and the data for all the environmentals. And what they do across the board is they always delay people on a FOIL. They'll never give you the information for months, for years. If we have a person at New York City, because they had to give it to New York City Environmental Protection. So if we can get a contact there with an email address and somebody who can respond to us, that'd be very helpful. Then we can get the data, the information that's out there. Thanks.
Okay, so hopefully we'll be able to get that information once we get all the information that we need
Great.
out to the respective people that we would like to be involved in that process.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to continue our meeting with our community issues. I think we have some old business here that we spoke about before. And I think we were supposed to, touch base again on it. We spoke about the laminated signs. Did anyone have any additional feedback on that? The keep Crown Heights clean? Nope, nobody. No one thought about it?
If I may, Debbie, You can go, Teresa. Sorry.
Oh, I just know my neighbors are really asking for signs about and really complaining about the dog problems. I think it's all over Brooklyn. I've seen
Yeah,
some,
it's horrible now, really.
Mhm.
it's really big with the people are complaining about. It seems like a lot of people got dogs over
Yeah,
the
I
pandemic.
totally agree with that. So there's definitely an issue with that lately.
So if we could
Yeah.
have something with that on it, that would.
Yeah, we're working on some signage right now, so you'll be updated on that.
Thank you.
Signage on what?
Curb your dog signs,
Okay,
you know, to bring those signs were requested, so we're trying to work on a flyer ourselves or see if we can get one.
is
Yeah,
there a
we-
dog run in the area? Does anyone know if there's a dog run in the area anywhere?
A dog
I-
run?
Dog
I know
run,
there's no dog runs in our direct neighborhood. The closest place is, well, there's like Open Meadow and Prospect Park before 9, and there's no dog runs. The closest dog run is over near, the precinct that's over on Parkside near the parade grounds. It's really, I think it's out of CB9. It's like pretty far.
so maybe, yeah, so maybe that's a topic to be, you know,
Parkside, Coney Island Avenue, that's where the closest dog run is. There's no dog run.
Yeah.
And dog runs are kind of disease ridden. I have a dog. So there's a lot of dogs, there's been some transmissions of diseases at these dog runs this year.
okay.
So I don't know where we'd put one or not. It's just, if people clean up, it's great. When they don't, there's supposedly some new legislation or something with the city with that too.
Okay, so maybe we can look into that and see
New
what
font.
happens with that.
New crew or something with the dog. I feel like it's everybody's complaining, not everybody, but
Yeah, but even, okay, so the dog run signs, I mean, you know, it's like, I guess we have to figure out exactly where they're gonna be posted and stuff like that.
we have quite a few in my neighborhood that people have made through the years.
Oh,
But
some people made them up themselves?
yeah, we actually had a block, we had the spring event in my neighborhood and we had kids make them for a few years.
Oh,
We had, like,
that's nice.
COVID, we had
Yeah.
children make different signs like don't pee here, clean up after your dog, like urine is harmful for the trees. They're pretty cute, but they're wore out.
Right.
But you had some laminated ones.
Oh, yeah, I guess they have to be laminated.
And then well, if you use a certain kind of paint and a certain type of sign, they'll last quite a long time,
Right.
But the other ones, there's quite a few. There's,
Unless we can get some wooden signs,
but there's
and,
one put on like a thing and put in
Right,
your tree
right.
pit. And then some
Yeah.
people, you can't nail them to trees. That's not allowed to put any kind of poke in a tree. But some people put these strings around or they put it on their fence.
Right.
They
So
they do,
just,
they do seem to help. I think they do.
so maybe, maybe people can make up their own signs, maybe we can come up with an idea in terms of what the colors should look like or something like that. So
Yeah.
that it's, yeah.
Herbert has his hand up as well.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Herbert has his hand up.
Oh, hi, Mr. Herbert.
Hello, hi. No, I just wanted to mention that, yeah, this is a huge problem,
Yes.
throughout the city. And years ago, I'm talking back in the 70s, there was a program that the DOT championed where they
Mhm.
did put up street signs,
Mhm.
curb your dog and everything, along with the
Yeah.
specified fines, on, no parking signs, street light poles and so forth. And so, as we're talking this conversation, I just noticed I haven't seen those in a while. Those have
Yeah.
like vanished. So I'm not sure if there is a possibility that, this can be tied in with the DOT in order to, have these signs put back up. if possible.
Yeah,
You
well,
can't
that
put
was
them on
one,
trees.
yeah, that was one of the, DOT was one of the people that I was, going to ask the board to reach out to in terms of what are the, what is the protocol in terms of hanging signs, let's say on one of their, street signs, attaching like a,
Well,
keep our block clean or whatever.
yeah, well, their concern mainly hanging signs is wind load. That's their main concern, that if you don't have a high wind, won't blow the sign off and
Right,
it'll kill somebody. So that's
yeah,
why it has to be properly attached. But the DOT,
yeah,
they're the ones that championed that years
right.
ago.
Yeah, so I guess we have to take all those things into consideration. in
What
terms of-
about enforcement?
I'm sorry?
Enforcement. I mean, there seems to be like zero enforcement, right? Like ticketing.
Well, I would say right about now, there's a lot of things that needs to be enforced. And, it's funny that earlier today I went to, I was in Soho during lunch and walking around, and I mean, the Nike store on the corner of Spring and Broadway, there's a line to purchase sneakers, but the line is across the street or right by the Chase Bank. And, these young kids, they're standing there online to purchase these sneakers and smoking their stuff, and you go into the bank and all you get is those fumes. And it's like, where's the bid? Where is the cops? It's like the security guard in the bank is like, I have to get aggressive with them sometimes. They block the entrance to the doors. So there's a lot of enforcement that needs to be done right about now. And it's like, I guess people are overwhelmed with everything that's happening, and everything's happening so quickly, and nobody is really enforcing anything, so, there's a lot of work to be done. It's just that, there's a few people that's, ready for this job, and, others are just sitting back, watching it unfold, and, it doesn't work that way, but, it's a task. But I guess we have to keep at it if we expect to, at least change the world or change the way things are happening, and for the good of everyone, as the city charter said, do good for everyone, that's what I strive by. And so hopefully we can try to move some of those things along. The garbage cans, some of the garbage cans that I saw on the avenues or, the streets walking around, I mean, some of them are like they're ready to fall off the sidewalk. I don't know what's going on. If when they come to pick up garbage, they just, throw it back in any old way. I mean, but it's not in a uniform way. Sometimes it's just, sloppily put back on the sidewalk or whatever. So I don't know what's going on with that. But the other thing I wanted to check out was, exactly where those cans that, were placed. I have to find that list that was sent to us to see exactly where and what's missing and what's not, because I believe I sent a picture about a week or two ago about some trash cans that they are located in Manhattan, Lower Manhattan, over near City Hall area over there. But it's like a step-on can, one for cans and one for trash, side by side.
Oh, in Chinatown?
I sent them,
I might have
Huh?
sent you, in Chinatown, they have those where you step on it, the bigger.
right, right.
Yeah. I just sent you some photos of those, right? Those,
Yeah, because I sent
those are
me,
really have,
yeah. So I sent me one of those, a photo of those. There are certain areas that can definitely use something like that, so that everything doesn't go into that little basket in high, where in areas where there's a lot of food and, people walking around at any given time. So it's important to know what cans are placed where, and as opposed to other areas that are not, as busy.
Yeah, Dante never got back to me about the Sullivan Rogers. As
Oh.
I did you, he never got back to me. I haven't heard from him. Can you let him know about that again, Khalid, please?
Okay, so,
The missing trash can from Sullivan and Rogers, we still have not returned.
okay, and,
I'll follow up with him with that.
right, so, I want to encourage people to, members to continue to take pictures of areas that, may be, lacking something, or where you see an issue going on, whether it's water, whether it's, garbage, or, anything that, is causing a problem or can cause or create a problem. And send it to the board office so that, at least they have something. The other thing is trying to track all those things that, we send there, so that, we know that it's being, the information is passed along to the agency at the Borough Service Cabinet meeting, because that's where all the agencies meet to discuss services in, any given community. So hopefully, they can, they will know what's happening, or in any particular community or area that, people are concerned about.
Just that, I took pictures of this area on by Abbott's Field, but there's a.
Oh, the
drain-
rats?
Well, the drain is completely clogged over by the rats. I complained, I brought that up before, neighbors brought it up. I took pictures, I filed a complaint with 311. I sent it to the board, my complaint number and the pictures. And, I went over there, I walk by there every day, honestly. And I took a picture today, and it's still clogged. It was never cleaned, still completely clogged. That drain on Bedford off Sullivan, with a big
So-
flood there.
So Khalid, do you know
Yeah, if
exactly
you-
what happens to this information once, we
Nothing-
send it over to the board office?
It dismissed as if they'd done it, but they didn't do it. They didn't do it.
So Teresa, could you resend that? I don't know, when did you send that? So
Like after last meeting, I sent a bunch of photos.
last meeting, which
Right
general
after
board?
I went and I took a whole bunch of pictures of all this
Which
stuff.
meeting?
The last EP meeting,
Okay,
the February EP meeting, I took a lot of pictures, and I made a point to report that one. Because honestly, those reports take a while to do, and then I do it, and then nothing gets done. It's
and you sent those ticket numbers with that email as well?
Yes, I did. And you can also, there's a map where you could see all the complaints for, say, rats or whatever. You can look at the map and you could see where anybody's filed complaints, where you just
Okay,
quite easy to.
I'll follow up with team with that tomorrow. Also, Mr. Sort has his hand up, Debbie.
Okay, Mr. Sorry, before we end this meeting, you
Yeah.
can go ahead and,
Sure, I just wanted to echo Mr. Herbert's idea about the signs. I think it's a great idea to, if there's a problem with the dogs, the community board can simply say, hey, we want you to put more signs out. I think it's a fantastic idea. There could be a resolution of the community board wanting to increase the amount of signs. And you could even maybe have somebody from Department of Sanitation who maybe sits out and watches or something like that. But the idea of more signs in certain locations, I think is a great idea.
okay, so that would be another topic for Dante to bring up at the next Borough Service Cabinet meeting, because I'm sure the DOT will be there present. So maybe he can address that topic at the next meeting. Do you have any idea as to when that meeting is held? Is it a standard time when the Borough Service Cabinet meeting is held?
I believe it's every week. I don't know the.
Every week? I thought it was like once a month.
Yeah.
It's Borough
Yeah.
Service Cabinet and then Borough Board.
Okay,
They
like,
usually, it's usually one week and one the next week, so.
okay, so I don't want to give any wrong information.
Okay, yeah, so if you can
All right.
find that out, that would be helpful. And then, in terms of cleanup, we mentioned that a while ago. Maybe as it's starting to get a little warmer, we can start focusing on, seeing if we can venture out and, look at some areas that may be, in need of, cleaning up. Maybe we can get some high schoolers to come out with us and, do some cleanup in certain areas. As it, warms up a bit. So maybe we can talk about that another time and maybe at the next meeting. And
Teresa has her hand up as well.
Oh, I'm
go
writing
ahead,
a letter.
Teresa.
Yeah, I'm just writing a letter right now to clean up Crown Heights to see if they, see if we could do something with them again. I know that there was also discussion about this fair again. If that's gonna happen, I don't know, Debbie, I was the only member that's still here. Last year they had the fair, and I'm hoping that the fair is not in McNair Park, but it's more in the center of our district this time.
Are you
But,
talking about the fair that the community board?
Yeah, and
Okay,
we're hoping we'll participate again, the committee, and I just want to know if there's a date for that yet and a location and how we can be involved with that. And what we want to do. Last year we did quite a few things. But I ended up at a table with Suki, Christian, and nobody else showed up.
okay.
I
But
can
there were a
follow
lot,
with a date.
it was,
I don't think that they had a date as yet, so hopefully, they're working on those things because, sometimes, when things are, held on a Saturday, it's problematic. So, hopefully we can come to terms in terms of when is best suited for, most people to attend this event and,
maybe on a
give
Sunday.
their, I'm sorry?
We could do it on a Sunday, maybe both days.
Yeah,
and
well, yeah, we have to figure out what would
that-
work best for most people.
And participate well,
So
right?
that so that nobody is left out. Yeah. Are there any other questions in terms of community issues that we didn't?
Walk
So I
around.
just,
Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
Teresa. Okay, I just had one comment. So what I've been doing, and this sort of crosses committees. So a number of abandoned vehicles that are all over the city.
Oh, yeah, you did mention that about one of our meetings before, yeah.
So I see a number of them are leaking oil, and that was evident with this past snowstorm and the melt that we had of the snow and the rain and whatnot. So one of the things I've been doing now, because I gave Callie a listing of vehicles that I've observed and whatnot. I've started contacting the DEC Spill Response Center.
Okay.
And so they did come out. They did manage to have 2 vehicles removed, but that's going to be short-lived because I think they probably move them around the corner someplace.
Yeah. Wow.
But the thing is that there are water quality standards that the city has to maintain with regards to stormwater discharge.
Really?
And, oh yeah, then that's an EPA guideline that must be followed. And, you know, there are best management practices that have to be, maintained. And, you know, that has fallen by the wayside. Again, lack of enforcement, which is part of the best management practices, which also goes to the dog situation in the streets, right?
Yeah.
All of this washes down and then it violates the water quality standards as far as the discharge
Yes.
into the storm sewers. So, you know, I started contacting the state. I'll contact them again, but also, you know, working with CalAid and the list that I did provide, you know, we'll work together to have this population removed. But it's going to be a challenge, and it's growing by leaps and bounds.
The challenge is growing?
So Khalid, the list that you have, did you guys do anything with it at this point?
So I'm following up with that. I sent like additional 311 complaints. So I will follow up with Mr. Herbert tomorrow with that and see if
Okay.
it could be escalated based on, you said it was DEC spillage response center.
So it's the New York State DEC Spill Response Center. Anytime there is a reported spill or a reportable quantity of hazardous fluids, they are the ones that are contacted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a state organization, and the city has their office, which is similar in the city end, but they are not as quick to respond to these incidents here.
Yeah, I could testify too that we had a lot of cars parked on the sidewalk on Empire Boulevard for some time, and they were leaking oil, and there was oil stored in that old garage, and it was leaking out into the street. And I know my husband filed a complaint, and it went to the DEC, and it was never dealt with. And shortly after that complaint, it was pretty bad. The amount of oil that was leaking was when that car blew up and the whole thing lit up on fire. It was pretty bad. It was very dangerous. A car exploded and the whole building lit on fire. And a lot of, it was actually 2 years ago, just because it popped up in my photos.
Mm-hmm.
It was a huge smoke plume, black smoke plume, because of all the oil and everything that was stored in there. And the whole roof was on fire, and a lot of firefighters almost lost their lives. It was super dangerous hazard, and nothing was.
Yeah,
it was bad. So it's.
But I have to say that the city did manage to move a couple of cars not too long ago to make room for city bikes. So it goes to show you that they can move them if they want to.
Exactly, because they put a stack of bikes right on the corner of Nostrand by the subway there on Sterling Street. And this happened about maybe 2 weeks now.
So they can, abandoned cars can be moved if there's motivation.
Yes, I agree.
Really? So interesting.
I just put it out to everybody just to think about that.
I totally agree, because when you see a city bike, one of those things just put there overnight, you wonder, you get up and you're walking by and you're like, well, when did this happen? I walked by here and it wasn't there yesterday.
Yeah,
so
just think about it. Think about it. They contacted someone who is never around. The car is abandoned, and somehow they had the person move the car.
Yeah.
I love it.
There are ways to get it done, but it's I guess it takes time and proper contact and information like that.
Yeah, so I'm happy to work with I'm happy to work with Kelly to get this done. So whatever he needs from me, I'll be more than happy to help him. You can call me at any time.
Yeah,
Will do. Thank you.
so.
No problem.
For me, I think it's more, I think more letters need to go out from the community board as opposed to, just the whole 311 thing, because, sometimes you wait a long time before anything, gets done. Whereas you write directly to a commissioner or, the head of an agency and, so,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so if there are no further questions, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn this meeting. I think that we have exhausted our agenda.
Can we make a motion before we end to like prepare a letter or something to present to the community board?
Which
I'd
one,
like to,
regarding?
the tower,
Okay, so I think that,
because I don't want it to get
Wait.
passed all around, I want to have some action as soon as possible, especially.
we need to
Or-
receive that information first, and then I guess we can make a request that, based on the contents in the documents that's being sent out, where everyone should receive that information and be able to, come up with their thoughts on it and how we should move forward with it as a board, as a whole board. I think that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah,
But we have nothing to go on right now, and other than, information coming from everywhere. So once we get that information from them and everyone on the board has that information, then, we can have that discussion to move forward with a letter so that all the elected officials in the community can be on board and is aware of what's going on. And, we can start a discussion on, what we would like to see happen with this whole 5G network thing. So,
so by
So
next meeting, letters together.
I'm sorry.
Let's commit to working on a letter, like between now and the next meeting that we can all go over together. Like a document with all the information in it, like a sample letter. I'll work
Yeah,
on
but
it.
we have to determine what we're going to be putting in that letter.
Exactly. We'll do a sample I'll do a sample letter of what we could have in there. You can look at it, everybody can look at it, and then, it'll move along faster. If we do it in emails, then talk about it.
Okay, but again, we need to do it as as a board, not just, as a,
So, we have to,
so
we've
it
been,
would have to come, yeah.
Fred tasked us with preparing something, so I'd like to prepare something and then they can all look at it. We have to have something ready, like as soon as possible. This is something we've dilly-dallied on, and I really want to go do as much as I can to help because so many people are concerned in our community. So I'll do
So you
whatever.
said Fred tasked who? Was
EP
it?
He said EP in the board meeting. We're going to move this to EP. That's why everybody came to this meeting. He stated that. And that's why I'm like ready to go.
Which meeting are you speaking about?
The board meeting.
The general board meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so I think that that's something that we need to bring up again so that we are all on the same page and, as a whole, as opposed to, just one individual taking the initiative to do that. So once we get the information at the board office, then we can, have that discussion as a whole in terms of how we're going to move forward on this. But in the meantime, what needs to be done, the board needs to get a letter together and get all of the elected officials in our community together so that their information, so that they can get, the information on this on this topic so that they can, you know, be a part of this discussion. So, I mean,
Let's work on it. And then everybody can look it over. I'm great with that. Thank you.
I mean, you can drop something, but you would have to, you know, actually send it to the board office.
Of course. And I would love your input, you know,
But,
and anybody who wants to participate, Jay, anybody.
so, you know,
I mean, maybe we could form a subcommittee like your lip did.
okay, so we would have to bring that up to the board again.
I think we need to ask them to form a subcommittee. Do we?
Of course we do.
We have to ask permission to form a subcommittee?
Yes, yeah,
Oh, really?
yes.
I propose that we ask the board to form a subcommittee to write a letter about the 5G towers. How's that?
Okay, so Khalid, is he there?
Yes, I'm here.
Or we're so small, you know, who's going to be on the subcommittee? Me by myself? Let's just, I'm going
Well,
to work.
I mean, this topic is
I
the
can,
board as a whole. It's not just going to be our, you know, it's gonna be other people that's more than on the board that's gonna be a part of this subcommittee if you know, there's a need for that, so.
We, you know, the EP did that letter before, you know, about the trash and the cans. We did that. So,
Mhm.
I mean, this is like I feel like this is very serious. You know, this is more serious than trash cans. So I think that time is an element here, you know, before more of these towers go in, that we could prevent this and do more with it. So
Mhm.
I'm just looking to not waste time, you know, and get it done.
So
And
maybe what you can do in terms of, you can maybe draft something with the questions that you're raising now in terms of, you know, a letter to state, you know, whatever you know, you're talking about there, to the chair of the board.
yeah, it's great. And then with these new people coming to our meetings, they give me a lot more information, and I've been trying to get that from the board, but
Mhm.
they won't give it to me. They said we're sending it to the chair. So
Okay, so yeah, so that's something that we
gonna
need
change.
to speak about as a whole, and not just one individual or just 3 or 4 individuals. It's something that, you know, the board as a whole has to discuss. I mean, we can provide them with, you know, our concerns and, you know, things like that. But as a whole, you know, this needs to be addressed by everyone.
So what do you think, Fred, when you said EP is gonna handle this? Oh, and before I forget, I'm sorry to go off topic, but there's
Yeah.
the meeting coming up that Suki requested, that subcommittee meeting that they want us to attend. I sent out a lot of information to the Environmental Protection Committee from her, Nicola, whatever they sent me, I forwarded to everybody.
Which
So-
meeting was that? I think I read something briefly.
Yeah, you did comment on it. It's the subcommittee. The URLIP formed a subcommittee regarding the city of Yes, all the proposals for the text amendment changes, and some of them are involving environmental protection issues.
Mhm.
And Suki sent me quite a few things in the last couple of days, and I forwarded them to you.
I
So
think I printed out some stuff here, but I didn't get to look at it. I think I copied some stuff today. And I have it in my pile here to look at, so hopefully I can take a look at that and see what's in there.
yeah, it would be great if you could go, and Bishop as well, so we can get a better understanding and comment on that, because they're asking for our help.
Okay,
I'm gonna go, but I really could use some.
Okay, so, yeah, so I'm gonna look at that information and see what's in there and,
It's about the batteries, is one of the topics.
are you talking about the,
Text amendment changes and
uh-huh,
potential changes, to zoning and various things that involve EP. It's
Mhm.
what to talk about. I think we need to all read it over.
okay. So I'll take a look I can look over that stuff, over the weekend.
Thank
and
you, Deb.
see what's in there. Okay, so if there are no further amendments or comments, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn the meeting for tonight. And
Thank you,
I wanna say
everyone.
thank you to everyone for attending the meeting. And hopefully we can make some progress on our next meeting, getting some of these questions that we have answered by the board office on these topics that we would like to get more information on.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you.
Yes, have a good night.
Good night,
Thank
Okay,
you.
have a good
everyone.
night, everyone.
Okay, thanks, Khalid.